Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 6 at Gulfstream Park on Holy Bull Stakes Saturday is the Grade 3 Swale. This race is also for 3-year-olds, but 3-year-old sprinters going 7/8 of a mile. Let's take a look at this field. $125,000 is the purse. Your favorite's the likely speed. The 6 Super Chow. Super Chow has 5 wins. The rest of the field combined has 8 wins. Yet I still think, Mike, Super Chow has a lot to prove, stretching out to 7 furlongs.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you, Dan, but I do agree with you. He's just the kind of horse that I haven't been won over by him yet, but he keeps winning. His figures keep improving. He's got speed from the outside here. I mean, he's the horse to beat. I'm going to try to beat him again.
He is certainly the horse to beat, and he's the horse to catch, according to Timeform US. We throw up the pace projector. Super Chow. That's how he likes to run. He likes to be forwardly placed. He's probably faster than the 3 Two of a Kind, but I think Two of a Kind, the winner of the Tremont 2 starts back, might have needed his last race off the layoff, Mike. He's going to have to work to push Super Chow, but I think he'll be forward.
Yeah, I do too. And I won't be surprised if he's able to beat that horse to the lead this time. We'll see. Maybe it won't play out that way, but it's certainly not impossible. And this horse deserves another chance here, second off the layoff.
Now, while Super Chow is stretching out to 7/8 of a mile, General Jim, the number 1, both of his lifetime wins have come on turf. He is cutting back to 7, and he did not have a good trip in this race, the Mucho Macho Man. He sat the pocket, and it looked like Luis Saez on the turn was going to get him out to split horses. And I don't know whether General Jim was green, but he ended up in behind the leader for the entire stretch. And eventually, when he gets clear very late, gets up for third.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't work out for him here. I think Saez's plan was to sort of come in out there off the turn, but unfortunately for him, the horse that wound up finishing second, who was a bigger price in that race, just really never stopped, and he never opened that gap for him. And so General Jim just got trapped on the inside there. I thought it was a pretty unlucky trip, Dan. This is a horse who you could argue is better on turf than he is on dirt, but I think he deserves another chance out of that last one. And his career debut at Saratoga, sprinting on the dirt, it's a better performance than it may appear to be on paper. I can see this horse running fine in this race.
Needs to avoid being outrun in the early portion of this race. We saw Timeform US have him in last, but I do think he has some ability, whether it be on turf or dirt, and he should be running on late. Keanu is the number 2. We're going to watch Keanu's maiden victory. This race around 2 turns over the Tapeta surface, a race washed off of the turf. Keanu got up close to a very reasonable pace. 3/4 in 1:14.1. He has to work to win. The runner-up did come back to graduate against Florida-bred maidens on turf with a 70 buyer. Turning back in distance, he might have to come from out of it.
Yeah, I like him cutting back. I don't think it is going to help him that much, though, because he's a horse who wants to use his speed, and I feel like this might go a little too fast for him early in here, Dan, obviously based on his dirt form. And it was last year as a 2-year-old in the summer, so he has, it's reasonable to expect him to improve, but I think he's got to improve by a lot.
The Two of a Kind, the number 3, was very, very fast as a 2-year-old for Brian Lynch. He didn't give them a chance in his career debut, going 5/8 of a mile at Churchill Downs. He didn't give him a chance in the Tremont, his second lifetime start. Now, something must have happened physically awry because he missed the big 2-year-old races in the summer and into the fall. He came off the layoff last time out. He pushed Super Chow early. He got tired. I expect him to be a lot fitter this time around.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. I remember not really liking this horse that much going into the Tremont last year, Dan. His debut was fine, but I wasn't, totally blown away by it. And as it turns out, he was just better than those horses. The Tremont wasn't a very good field. He made the lead, and he was just too good in the stretch, but it still felt like he had potential at least. And he deserves the benefit of the doubt for his return. I mean, if you go back and watch the head-on replay, that he just got knocked around between horses at the start of that race, and it allowed Super Chow to really easily beat him to the lead, and it forced him to chase. He got really tired at the end, like a horse who really needed that start. He's going to run a lot better in here, I think.
Araj, the number 4, steps up in class off this race, his debut. It was a nice effort going 3/4 of a mile over a sloppy surface. It must be noted, however, that he ran against a lot of other first-time starters in this race. The horse that finished last did come back to win his next 2, but both of those races were on turf with buyers of 63 and 75. So it's a big step up in class. Irad Ortiz takes them out this time.
Yeah, we'll see if he's going to be able to handle it. It's also, I think, at least worth noting, Dan, that his trainer is really good with first-time starters.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise to see this horse ready to go. I still thought he ran pretty well in that race, if only because he was taking pressure on the lead basically throughout the running there. He was able to shrug it off, and he kept going through the stretch. I thought he ran well in there. Doesn't mean that I like him coming back in this spot, especially with some quality other speed to deal with. But I feel like this horse ran maybe even better than it looks on debut.
King Sparrow, the number 5, has won twice, but both of those races have come in claiming events, and his most recent victory came going 2 turns on the turf at Tampa Bay Downs. Now, while he's been on the lead at the first call in his last 4 races, it's unlikely he'll get to the top here, and he has to prove himself against these much tougher horses.
Yeah, that's just one of the things working against him here is that he's got all that other speed to deal with. He's never run a race that even puts him close in this field.
And here's Super Chow. He's won 5 of 6 starts. The only loss came when he was in really tough in the Saratoga Special. He's fast. Here's his last start, the Limehouse on New Year's Day at Gulfstream, going 3/4. I thought Chantal Sutherland had to scrub on him a little bit to get to the front, but he did do so. He drifted out a bit on the turn. He's still drifting out a bit in the stretch. It might not be the most visually appealing race, but it was a typical Super Chow race. He goes to the front and he runs pretty fast.
Yeah, and he also does have a tendency to drift in the stretch of his races too. So it's not unheard of to see him doing that in his last start. Again, I don't really have a knock on him, Dan. He keeps getting better. He keeps running fast races. He's got good speed from the outside. He's the horse to beat. I just would rather try to take a shot against him here if he's going to be a really short price again.
I'm with you. As we take a look at our top selections, we're going to go with the horse cutting back in distance as opposed to Super Chow, who's stretching out. General Jim, everybody saw the trouble he had last time out, but this is a horse that's had some promise, and it's interesting that Chug's putting the blinkers on. I trust Chug in this situation.
Yeah, I think this pace is going to get competitive early. So that's one of the things I like about General Jim. I'll give him a chance to rebound off that last one where things just didn't work out for him. The other horse for me is Two of a Kind. I don't love that horse. I just think he's going to run a lot better here.
I think he's going to show speed. I think he might be able to push Super Chow and set things up for a horse like General Jim. 1, 3, 6, and 4 for Mike. 1, 6, 2, and 3 for me in the Swale. One of a plethora of nice stakes races at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Best of luck.